Lady from Iowa, Ms. Miller-Meeks, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I thank all of our witnesses for being here today to both provide testimony and answer questions. Administrator Shore, I first want to thank you for being on the ground in East Palestine community and making outreach to those affected by the derailment. Certainly that's the utmost and foremost thing that we should be doing. One aspect of EPA's activities in East Palestine that has come up a few times is confusion between monitoring and sampling. And let me just say, I'm a physician and former director of the Iowa Department of Public Health. I'm hoping that we can have a discussion about that. Is EPA using monitoring to measure the levels of chemicals in people's homes, or is EPA using sampling, and why?
Congresswoman, my understanding is that EPA has been using monitoring devices inside homes because our suite of highly sophisticated measuring, monitoring, and sampling devices outside homes has provided us with information showing that there aren't elevated levels outside, so we had no expectation we would see them inside.
So your thought is that the equipment is capable of determining if the chemical is below the safe exposure level?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
So then from that I infer that you think the equipment itself is capable of determining that the chemical is below the safe exposure level?
We think so, yes.
Okay. And what about a mixture of chemicals? So is the detection equipment able to determine if exposure to the mixture of chemicals is below the safe exposure level rather than just an individual chemical?
As I understand it, this equipment can test for a suite of volatile organic compounds up to 59.
Thank you. Director Vogel, in your testimony, you referenced that the removal of contaminated soil and water from East Palestine will likely take another 2 months. Does that timeline assume that the current pace of waste removal will continue?
Congressman, yes. We are seeing as many as 40, 45 trucks a day taking soil out of East Palestine this week. So if that pace continues, yes.
And do you foresee any challenges to achieving full removal of soil and water waste in 2 months?
As Administrator Shore has said, contingent on Norfolk Southern finding additional contracts with places to take the soil, I'm not going to predict that there will be no more challenges, but things are on pace as of today.
And how is the Ohio EPA working with the U.S. EPA, the Columbiana County General Health District, and Norfolk Southern to meet that goal?
I think we're working very closely together, again, as all part of Unified Command. There are morning meetings, but there are also meetings, operational meetings throughout the day, public health meetings that all of our, the state, the feds, and the locals are represented on. So I think that is a very close collaboration.
Thank you. And I'm going to go back to the sampling data and discuss the quality assurance of the sampling data. So, Director Shore, has EPA sampling data been quality assured?
Congresswoman, I believe that the samples from the SUMA canister sent for laboratory analysis have gone through that quality assurance. I need to learn more about the real-time sampling that's done by the Tagabus.
So, the reason I asked, the EPA's website says it's not. So, Director Vogel, do you have any information on that?
The U.S. EPA website, or okay, I can't speak to that. Ohio EPA website posts the sampling data for the municipal wells directly from the labs.
So I guess my concern is if the EPA's website says that the sampling data hasn't been quality assured, how did the EPA make the determination that the air is safe to breathe when it appears that the sampling data has not been quality assured?
Congresswoman, I'm going to ask our staff to get back to you with an answer for that.
Thank you very much. We'd appreciate having that submitted to us after the committee. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Well, the gentleman